videos. Yeah, fantastic. Wonderful. Well, I'm really glad you're joining us. And I always like to remind people, whether you've been practicing yoga for a long time and practicing with me for a long time, or whether you're relatively new, it's very important that you really listen to what your body is open to and ready for in any given practice. So really listen and honor your own strengths and limitations, each for each class. And the body that we bring to the mat, and the mind and the energy level that we bring to our mats each day changes from day to day, from week to week. And so it's a process of tuning in and listening to and honoring that. And so rather than it be a Simon says do this, following everything that I say every time, really use your intuitive discernment as to whether what I offer is right for your body and in any given day, in any given moment. And then that will help you to be safe and more joyful in your practice. So I'll try to offer some modifications, but really listen and tune in and make the practice serve you well. All right. Well, I'm delighted to be sharing another 6 weeks of practice with you for our Rise and Shine series. And it is kind of become a kind of tradition with me and my students that whenever I start a new series, I like to begin with a traditional Sanskrit prayer known as the student teacher prayer. And we've got two folks here live, and I'm going to give you a little sheet with the meaning of the chant. I'm going to sing it in Sanskrit, and then we can say it together in English. And what this chant does is it creates, sets a tone of mutual respect and support in our practice together. So come into your yogic seat. Lengthen up through your spine, let your shoulders lower down away from the ears, draw them back and down, and let your heart be open. You can even turn your palms open on your lap in that gesture of being ready and open and willing to receive the gifts of your yoga practice today. The student teacher prayer. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunatu Sahaviryam Karavamahi Tejasvi Navadipamastu Mavi Vishavahayi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And together let's say the English. May we be protected together. May we be nourished together. May we create strength among one another. May our study be filled with brilliance and light. May there be no obstacle between us. Om, peace, peace, peace. And that last line, Om Shanti, 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 is that affirmation of peace. So let's just sing that one more time together. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And just take a moment to let your eyes close. Take a moment to notice the breath, an essential, most essential rhythm of life moving through you. And on the next inhale, take a long, slow, deep breath in through the nose and lift the breath up into the chest and see if you can sip in a little bit more breath. Fill all the way up to the brim, surround your heart with life energy, with breath. Hold, 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 and exhale, let go with a sigh. Offering out any tension you can become aware of in your body. And another deep breath in, filling all the way up into the chest. Sip in a little bit more breath. Hold, hold, feel that fullness. Feel every cell sparkle and light up and shimmer with prana, with life force, life energy. And as you exhale, see if you can offer out any distraction or anything rattling around in the mind, anything that's pulling at the attention. And on the next inhale, draw the shoulders up to the ears. We'll do a tension release. So shrug really, really high up to your ears. Clench your fists. Draw your arms in toward your ribs. Scrunch up the face. Tighten the belly. Lift the pelvic floor. Squeeze the thighs. Squeeze the buttocks. Get really tight, 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 tight. Hold the breath. Hold tight, 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 tight. And then when you release, let everything go. Just feel that melting. Feel that softening through the shoulders. Feel that release, trickle down the arms and out the fingertips. And take a deep breath in, sweeping breath, filling all the way up to the collarbones. Exhale completely through the nose, emptying chest, emptying ribs, emptying belly, drawing the navel in. And again, belly expands, ribs widen, chest lifts. And exhale completely. And then we'll do a seated warm-up. So once again, refresh your posture. Lift and lengthen through your spine, the crown. Lift to the sky. And let the arms reach and rise. Let the breath lift the arms. Roll the palms open when you come halfway with your breath. And that gesture of saying yes and being open. Lift to the sky. Reach to the right. Reach to the left. And exhale. Sweep wide and down. So syncing up your movement and your breath. Reaching, opening up. Opening to possibility. Saying yes to life today. Lifting to the sky. Keeping the shoulders low. Reach. Stretch through the side body. Exhale wide and down. And a few more breaths like that, just syncing up movement, attention, and breath. Letting yourself take up space. Take up lots of space with that in-breath. And exhale, releasing anything that doesn't need to be here in the mind, body, or heart. Just make it an offering out, emptying out. And on the next in-breath, see if you can gather in between your hands a prayer, intention, a quality that you'd like to cultivate in your practice today. Exhale right down the center and line of the body, draw it to the heart. Whatever quality it is that you would like to cultivate through your movement, your breathing, and your attention. Perhaps more peace, more presence, more aliveness, more joy, more sense of inner strength, whatever it is. And let's seal that intention with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Om. I never know what pitch is going to come out when an Om comes out for me. Let the arms reach and rise. We'll take some seated twists. Inhale, reach through the right, reach through the left. Exhale into a twist to your right. Elegant long lift in the spine. Turn, look over your right shoulder. Inhale up to center. Exhale, other side. So we're just going to flow with breath, side to side. So this warm-up is just exploring all the basic essential movements of the spine. Syncing up your movement and breath and awareness. So we don't need to go to our deepest twist here. We just need to invite that movement of spinal rotation. Just see how it feels, going side to side a few times to prepare us to go into deeper twists a little bit later. So let's do one more round each side, right and left. Keeping the breath full and deep. And arms reach and rise, palms come together, and in your own mind and heart, just bringing your attention back to that intention that you set. Left arm rises, right palm roots down, and back a little bit, and taking it into a side bend, reach long and away, fan the ribs open, breathe into those left fingertips as you reach long and away toward the right, and then inhale up to center, and exhale, sweeping the the left arm underneath the right, coming into eagle arms. And that might be back of the hands touching, thumbs want to point toward you, or it could be pinky hooking thumb, or wrapping wrist for full expression of eagle, and find some circles here. Circle the elbows. If eagle arms doesn't feel available to you, you can always just give yourself a hug. Circle the other way, explore the territory, opening up that place between the shoulder blades, opening upper arms, upper back. Inhale, lift up, fingers to the sky. Exhale, unwind. Just feel all that life force. Turn the palms up for a moment just to feel what you've invited in. And then right arm rises up, left palm roots down, reach long. See if you can unshrug that right shoulder, even as you're reaching up through those fingertips, take it into a side bend. Explore that opening through the ribs on the right side, reach long and away, breathe into your right fingertips as they reach toward the left. Big breath in, and exhale, release, and bring the right arm underneath into your eagle arms and explore here. What you want to remember in eagle arms is that one elbow is on top of the other and draws a little bit past. And hooking the wrist, wrapping the wrist is not necessary. It can just be backs of the hands to one another. But you want fingertips to be long and reaching to the sky, and thumbs pointing toward you. Lift and lower, circle, explore the territory here, and breathe into any tight spaces. Reach up and let that go. Reach your hands back behind you, interlace, open the hearts, your hearts, collective heart. Nice and wide, squeeze the shoulder blades together. If you need to use a strap between your fingers, between your hands, you can do that. Breathe in and out of that place right in the center of the chest. Let the heart light up like the sun. So you want to lift the hands, straighten the elbows if you can. Let the shoulder blades try to kiss one another. Big breath in. One more breath. And then release. And just take a moment to roll the shoulders. Let any tension, any residual tension from that sequence of movements just let go. Drizzle down the arms and up the fingertips. Letting anything that needs to roll off your shoulders, just let it go. Try rolling forward. And then letting the shoulders settle over the hips, long spine, just taking some seated cat-cow. Drawing the chest forward, shoulders back, look up to open the throat. Exhale, chin to chest, navel in. So letting the sit bones be like the blades of a rocking chair. Rocking forward and back, finding your flexion and extension. So now we get to find the last of the 6 essential movements of the spine. Deep, delicious breaths. And then as you're ready, coming forward into your table pose and finding cat-cow on your hands and knees. Same movement of the spine, just movement of the spine and pelvis, arms stay straight. And then neutral spine, hands come forward just a few inches and find some movements of the hips, stirring the hips. A little wider with each revolution. So inviting the lubrication in the hip joint. Sending your breath there. It's a place where we can get a lot of tightness and stiffness and stuckness, especially as we get older. So just give your hips some love, breathe and enjoy, and then circle the other way. And any sounds that want to come out of letting go or just enjoying being in your body, enjoying your practice, letting any oohs and ahs are absolutely fine and welcome. And then come back to center and draw the heart forward. We're going to come into the seal pose. So you're going to come forward onto your thighs, and if you can, big toes touch. Heels come close, as close to the buttocks as you can. Little bend in the elbows so the shoulders can draw back and you get a delicious expansion in the front of the torso. Heart shines open, shoulders melt back and down the back body. Chin lifts so the throat chakra opens, big breath in. And exhale, round the spine into a cat stretch, maybe coming up onto fingertips and sink it back to child. So we're pulsing the spine in opposite complementary movements. And on your own, I invite you to take a few more of those. Inhale, lift up through table, coming into your seal pose, forward onto your thighs, bringing the heels as close to the buttocks as they'll go, stretching the whole front body, then stretch the back body into that cat stretch, and melt back into child. Take a couple more of those, letting the breath lead the movement. And next time you come up through table, just leave your hips stacked over your knees so your thigh bones remain up and down, and slide your hands forward into heart melting pose, also known as puppy stretch. Reach your hips back, your hands forward. As the pose suggests, your heart melts down, and you can either have chin down or forehead down, whatever feels better for you here. So this is like a warm-up to downward dog, because we're doing the same thing with the upper body, from hips to hands, as we would do in downward dog. But you're on your knees. Navel draws in and up. And let the shoulder blades come toward one another. If you want to play with it a little bit, you can come up onto your fingertips into spider fingers, lifting palms. And then the wrists and the entire arms lift off. And it gives you a little more room to let that space between the shoulder blades drop down toward the mat. And again, navel draws in and up to support the lengthening spine. Then palms come flat. And lower elbows down so the entire forearms are down. So you can draw your body forward into your Sphinx pose. Elbows line up with shoulders. The arms make a 90-degree angle, plant the pelvis down. Energize the legs. So point back with the toes and press the tops of the feet down. Press into the elbows, give a little isometric pull toward the ribs so that you feel the whole front body lengthen. Little space between the lower ribs and the pelvis, shoulders back, heart open, crown lifts to the sky. And just notice the aliveness of the low back here. You can either stay here and breathe, or you can play with it a little bit by pressing into the palms. Keep them where they are, but just lift and straighten the arms. Elbows can go straight or just stay a little bent. Whatever feels good, it's going to invite a little bit more opening through the front body, a little juicier back bend. You can also play with a mashup of Sphinx and Seal, bringing the feet as they were in the Seal pose, big toes touch, heels toward the low back or buttock area. So play with that for a moment, breathing into your Sphinx. If you're just going to hang out here in Sphinx, make sure the legs are energized and you're reaching back with your toes and pressing all 10 toes down and anchoring the pubic bone into the mat. So the Sphinx is actually a really active pose. And then we can take it into another exploration from here. Curl the toes under, press back to the heels. Now you should feel your knees and your front of the thighs lift a little bit as you press back to the heels to prepare us to come right into everyone's favorite forearm plank. Body in one long line, a nice horizontal line through the back body. Reach your tailbone back, firm core. So your tailbone reaches toward your feet, belly firm, energizing the abdominal muscles to draw in toward the center. See if you can stay for 3 deep breaths. Keep the feet deeply flexed, so you might even want to walk your toes toward your hips and really press out through those heels. Ujjayi breath with a little contraction in the back of the throat. If you don't know Ujjayi breath, you can just breathe deeply in and out through the nose. I can go over Ujjayi another time. And then slowly, after the 3rd breath, lower the pelvis down, come back into your elegant, beautiful Sphinx pose. And roll down, hands underneath the shoulders, forehead down, keep the toes planted, and come up into your expression of Cobra. Shoulders back, heart forward. Once you're not pressing into the hands, you're using your back muscles. And once you've got that going on, you can try clasping hands or just reaching hands back behind you. So you can practice really using the muscles in the back that keep you lifted. And if it feels like you want to take it for a little deeper exploration, you can peel the toes, ankles, shins, knees, and thighs off. So you're just on your belly and your pelvis here. Chest is lifted, legs are lifted, corners of the mouth are lifted a little bit toward the ears. Breathe and enjoy. 2 more breaths. Long, slow, and deep. Then you can float the legs down, float the feet down, hands come under the shoulders, let the forehead come down. Just wiggle the hips side to side. And then press up through your table, take a nice round cat stretch so we get that opposite movement of the spine. And sink it back to child. And reach the hands forward, the hips are going to melt back toward the heels, your knees can be wide, or you can rest your belly on your thighs, with inner thighs together. Take a deep breath in and exhale, offering out any residual tension from that sequence. And then rising up into table pose. Wrists underneath the shoulders, arm bones stacked, fingers spread wide, curl toes under, and we'll press back to downward facing dog. Start with knees bent. So you're going to get that same diagonal line that you did in the puppy stretch, starting by pressing low belly toward the thighs. Lift sacrum high, heart low. And then you can try to begin to straighten one leg and the other, taking your dog for a slow walk, keeping that same alignment of the upper back, shoulders, and torso, arms. And enjoying the stretch of the hamstrings as one heel and then the other draws down toward the earth. You can let the hips sway side to side in a nice downward dog saunter. And when you're ready, come into your full expression of down dog. Some of you are going to take a little bend knees, having the heels lifted, and some of you We'll be able to let your heels come down to the earth. In either case, you want low belly to reach toward the front of the thighs. You want to notice if your shoulders are coming over your wrist or the back arching in a rounded spine like this. You want to preserve the integrity of that long line through the back body. And then on the next inhale, come forward into your plank pose. So same flat, long line through the back body, but this time your arm bones are stacked. Same firm core, firm legs. Activate the legs, press out through the heel. Draw the shoulders down, back toward the hips a little bit so we're not shrugging. Firm belly, and then lower down knees, chest and chin. Buttocks up in the air, so you might need to walk your knees a little closer to your hips. Snuggle the arms in. Curl your toes under. It's like you're looking under the couch for the cat toys. Inhale, come forward into your cobra. You can stay with low cobra like we did before. Hands under shoulders, or you can come into full cobra. In either case, the pelvis stays connected, arms have a little bend, shoulders back and down, heart open. Exhale, release. Let the forehead come down to the mat to transition through table and back to down dog. And I'm going to invite you to do that a couple of times. That's what we call the connecting vinyasa sequence. Coming forward into plank on the inhale, lowering down, knees, chest, chin on the exhale, butt up in the air. Inhaling into the cobra of your choice, baby or full, and exhaling into downward facing dog. Low belly toward thighs, lift sacrum, heart melts down low. And then from here, either hop or walk the feet between the hands to come into a forward bend so we can begin to move toward our standing postures. But first we'll just let it all hang out for a few breaths in a forward fold. If you have a lot of space between your belly and thighs, then you might want to bring a block in front of your feet and bend the knees a little to fold. Try to stay as connected as you can between the front of your torso and the front of your thighs. Let the crown of the head hang down and find some movement to the head. Yes, no, and maybe. If there's a reason, for whatever reason, if you have an eye problem or blood pressure issue going on and you don't want to have your head below your knees or below your hips, you can stay in a half lift, just having your fingertips press into your thighs. As a matter of fact, let's take that half lift now, sliding the fingers up the shins to just below the knees. Some people press hands in. I like to do fingertips because that invites a little bit more length from your tail to your crown. You want to find that flat back, shoulders in line with the hips, shoulders drawing back toward the hips, and core activated. Navel lifting in and up to support that lengthening spine. Spread your sit bones like you're fanning your feathers like a peacock. Big breath in. And exhale, fold, softening knees as you need to. Beautiful. Let's take another half lift. Slide the fingers up. See if you can grow a little longer this time. Big breath in. Let the back of the neck be long. So notice if you're letting your head flop or kinking the back of the neck by looking up, and just reach forward through the crown. Exhale, fold, and then soften the knees and let the sun rise as your arms reach out to the side, roll open in that same gesture of saying, yes, I'm grateful to be alive. Palms come together overhead, and exhale, draw your intention, your prayer, your quality you're cultivating back to your heart. Just pause and rest in that awareness. And we'll do a few standing sun breaths. Let the feet be hip-width apart in your mountain pose. Tailbone rooting down, shoulders back and down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend the knees, round the spine, chin to chest. Once again, syncing up breathing, attention, and movement. And we'll take another standing side bend, standing half moon. Reach up through the right and left fingers, and then let the right fingers wrap around the left wrist and take it. I'm mirroring you here. Take it into a standing crescent moon shape. Have the palm face down, the upper palm face down. Yeah, that's it. Reach long and away, smile, open the ribs. Inhale up to center, exhale, release. Inhale, long, extended mountain, take that on the other side. Breathe into your rib cage and enjoy. And inhale up to center, exhale, release. You can take that same thing again, or you can juice it up a little bit more by bringing the same side foot. So here you would grab left wrist, bring your left foot behind your right foot as far over to the right as you can onto the outer edge of your foot. Bend your right knee a little bit. This is what I call the half moon on steroids. And press that left hip out to the left. And then release, come back to center and feel the difference. Just take a moment to shake out the arms. Just feel that aliveness pulsing and tingling through your left side. And then we'll do the other side. Grab right wrist with left fingers and bring the right foot behind the left as far over to the left as you can, onto the outer edge of that right foot. And explore the edges of your crescent moon today. Juice it up a little more by bending the standing leg, your left leg. It's a little balance challenge too. And of course it's optional. You can always do the simpler version. And release, come back to standing. Turn the palms open, pause in mountain. Feel the reverberation of that practice. And then let the feet come as wide as your mat. Doing a lot of energizing, a lot of opening up and energizing the whole body and all the ways that the spine can move. The hips, the heart, the legs. Have the knees bent slightly. We're taking into empty coat sleeves. Leading with the heart. Let your torso be the source of the energy here. And the arms just come along for the ride. The head follows. And you can give it a little bit of more bounce, lifting opposite heel. One forearm is going to touch the opposite kidney on the other side. And if you give it enough bounce, you can invite one arm to come over your shoulder, opposite shoulder, give yourself a pat on the back. Inhaling center, exhaling into the twist. Ha, ha. Exhale with a ha from the belly. Ha, ha, ha. Ha, 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 ha. I always feel like I'm the only one making noise here. Ha. Releasing any stagnant, stuck energy, and let the breath melt back into a sigh. Let the body find its way into stillness and feel the prana buzz. Come to the front of your mat. I'm going to turn sideways. You may want to have blocks available for those of you who find blocks helpful. Anybody need blocks here? Okay. Feet hip width apart. Hands in prayer. Once again, touching into your intention. We're going to take it into a vinyasa. Big breath in. Exhale, slow and deep through the nose. Inhale, arms rise like the sun. Reach through right, reach through left. Hips come forward, hands come back, heart and gaze to the sky. Exhale, bend the knees, deep dive, bow to the earth. Hands frame the feet, step back with your right foot and lower the right knee down. Low lunge. Anybody here need a knee pad? Would you like a knee pad? Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay. All right, be on your fingertips when you're in your low lunge. To start, melt the shoulders back away from the ears and line the hands up with the shoulders. If you're using blocks instead of fingertips, that's fine, but just have the blocks underneath rather than out to the side. So you're not using extra energy to reach for your blocks. Inner thighs toward the center. You can either stay here or activate that sense of drawing it toward the center and reach up into your kneeling warrior, pinky spin inward, heart drops. Lift through the core, root down through the tailbone, kneeling warrior. Exhale, hands clasped behind you, open heart, squeeze shoulder blades together. Big breath. Exhale, release, and frame that front foot. Step back into your plank. And from here, you're going to take it into your connecting vinyasa, which could be that knees, chest, chin, lower down. Inhale to cobra, lower high, and exhale, meet in downward dog. If downward dog, if you feeling fatigued in downward dog, you can always come into child instead. Some of you may want to do, might be, if it's part of your repertoire, might want to do the chaturanga up dog sequence. If that's part of your practice, feel free to do that. One more breath in downward facing dog. And on the next inhale, we're going to step that right foot through between the hands, the lunge, knee over ankle on that front bent knee. Fingertips under your shoulders or hands on blocks, melt the shoulders, lengthen your spine from root to crown. Inner thighs activate toward the midline, reach up, and pinky spin inward. Heart is open, steady and powerful, and yet relaxed and at ease. Exhale, hands back behind you. Clasp the hands, open the heart, squeeze the shoulder blades together. You can even play with balance a little bit by arching back and looking up. All of that is optional. And exhale, release. Hands frame that front foot. Back toes curl under, step up, half lift, flat back. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees and rise like the sun. Press into the feet. Palms come together, gathering your attention and your intention, and bring it back to the heart. Big breath in, long breath out. Relax the shoulders, relax the muscles around the face, the jaw, the eyes. And then rising sun on the next in-breath. Heart, hands, gaze to the sky. Exhale, slow dive into a forward fold. Crown of the head reaches to the earth. Take a half lift, sliding the fingers up the shins, flat back, navel in and up to support this lengthening spine. Exhale, fold, frame the feet. Left foot steps back this time into a high lunge. You can stay low if you want, but if you want to explore a little different way of stretching the front of that hip flexor and the psoas muscle, you can come into high lunge here. Either blocks, maybe taking a few pulses here, lowering down hips, pressing out through the back heel, drawing shoulders back, away from the ears. Breathing into that for a moment. And then taking it into a twist, pressing left palm down, right hand rises to the sky, taking it into revolved side angle. Keep the right inner thigh active toward the center so knee stays over ankle. Exhale, release, frame that front foot, step back into plank. And flow through vinyasa, either powerfully, chaturanga up dog, or knees, chest, chin, a little bit more gentle, meeting in down dog, or simply take a rest in child, which also stretches the back body in a beautiful way. On the next inhale, bring the left foot forward into a high lunge or low lunge if you opted for that on the other side. Relax the shoulders, lengthen through the spine, long line from your heel to your crown here, diagonal line. Either use fingertips or blocks to let the pelvis release, let the heart open, let the body be long. Maybe taking another gentle pulse here to stretch through that front of the hip flexor. And then taking it as you're ready into revolved side angle. Palm or fist down underneath your right shoulder, left hand rises, grow long and wide, keep that back leg energized. Knee crease lifts to the sky, long and wide. Exhale, release, frame that front foot, step up, take a half lift, flat back. Long spine, exhale, fold. Bend the knees, arms sweep up, gather in your intention, your prayer, your commitment, bring it back to your heart. Feel your aliveness. Another deep breath in and out. We're going to take it into some standing poses. Here you may want to have your blocks ready. because we're going to come into a warrior three, so the blocks framing the front of your mat is a really good support. Root the tailbone down, lift up through the crown, and inhale, arms reach and rise. Arch back, greet the sun, exhale, bow to the earth. Half lift, flat back, grow long. Spread those sit bones like peacock feathers. Exhale, fold. Step back, right foot into high lunge. You're on the ball of your back foot. And then either using your blocks or just using the energy in your legs, you're going to rise up into a crescent lunge or balancing warrior. Front knee over ankle, front of the pelvis, pubic bone tilts forward so the low back lengthens. And you can play here with either just reaching to the sky, maybe you want to be a little more fierce warrior here with pointer fingers to the sky like a sword. Maybe you want to try courageous warrior, opening the heart. Maybe playing with the back bend, it is a balance challenge here. Maybe you want to just take prayerful warrior, hands in prayer. So explore that. And then float the hands down to either fingertips to the floor or to the blocks underneath your shoulders. And lift off, spring off. You can move the blocks so that they'll be under your shoulders, arm bones stacked. So your body is in one long horizontal line. You can stay holding onto the blocks. That standing leg is powerful, but you are not locking your knee because you don't want to hyperextend. So there's a very slight micro bend to the knee. Your hips are level. You can drop this hip a little bit down. Internally rotate that extended leg, the lifted leg. So here you got your right leg lifted, I believe. And then you can play with either airplane arms if it's available, arms to your side, or the more challenging expression, upper arms in line with the ear in your temple pose, steeple pose. And those of you who want to play, who feel it's available and are experienced with balancing half moon can take that. That's all optional. I'm not going to teach that pose today, but offer that as a way to play. Firm core. The core is what's going to really give your spine the support to lengthen here. And then when you're ready, hands can come down to frame that foot and float that back foot down into your lunge. Step back into plank and take it through the vinyasa. Either just take a break in child or take it through the connecting flow to meet in downward dog. Or it's fine just to press back to downward dog, that's fine. We're going to step through with the right foot. If you'd like to take a three-legged dog, this is optional. Sweep the toes to the sky, really press down and forward into the hands, and press forward into your lunge. Press back through the heel. Firm your knee over your ankle, hips low, and then rise up into your balancing warrior or crescent lunge. Play with the expression of the arms that invites in the kind of warrior energy you want to invoke today. Maybe you want goddess warrior with goddess arms. Maybe you want playful warrior. Whatever it is, hips square to the front, because warrior pose is about facing our challenges head on. Back leg is powered up, back of the knee reaches back behind you, heel reaches back and down. And then as you're ready, bringing the hands down under the shoulders, either fingertips or blocks, and springing off into your warrior three. If you don't feel ready for warrior three today, you can just stay with your hands on the blocks and take it into a lunge. That's fine. Try to bring your shoulders in line with your hips. Press out through the heel. Either hands to your side, airplane arms, or forward. So if you can bring your shoulders a little bit lower, long line. And then if you want to play with coming into the balancing half moon, that is an optional invitation here. Nothing is required. It's all optional. Coming back through warrior three, if you do come into half moon, with control, floating that back foot down, back into your lunge, step up half, lift, flat back, and fold. Soften the knees and sweep up. Gather in your intention, draw it back to the heart, pause and feel. See where you can relax and release. In the shoulders, in the face, the belly, in the buttocks. We have one more sequence to do in this standing flow. We're going to let you do what calls to you. So we'll take a deep breath in and let that rising sun lift to the sky. Arch back, greet the sky, bow to the earth. Exhale. Take a half lift, inhale. Exhale, fold, and step back with the left foot and come into your high lunge. Now, I'm going to mirror you here. With your left foot back, rise up again into your balancing warrior. Once you're steady and comfortable here, open your wings into crane and we'll spring off into flight. You can do that in one, sort of leaping off into the sky, or you can come through mountain and then lift up. Soft wings, soft elbows, soft wrists, soft shoulders, softness around the eyes. You can either stay here in crane, maybe lifting and lowering your foot to dip your toe in the water if you need steadiness. Standing leg has a micro bend in it, not a deep bend, just an unlocking of the knee. Fixing your gaze into a spot on the floor where you can anchor your attention. Now you can either stay here in crane and or come into the balance pose of your choice, or a sequence. It could be tree, it could be dancer, if that's part of your repertoire. You can always just stay in crane, or you could come into the balance pose of Samastiti, equal balance. You could come into eagle if you want to try that full eagle pose, or perhaps hand to toe pose standing. So just do what calls to you in your body today, either a sequence of poses or just one, or just feel your balance on the earth with both feet. That's absolutely fine. I'll give you another couple of breaths to explore and play here. Breathe and enjoy, keeping that drishti point, that visual focus, that mind focus, a few feet in front of you on the floor. When you feel complete on this side, we're going to take that leap of faith, bring the shoulders back, bring the shoulders forward, foot back, and float the ball of the foot down so you're back in your balancing warrior one. Bring your hands together. Two options here. Either come to a prayer twist, upper arm outside knee, pressing into palm, rolling upper shoulder open, or split the hands and come into the revolved side angle like we did before. So take the twist of your choice, and then step it back into plank and flow it through as you enjoy at your own pace, meeting in downward dog. We're going to bring the left foot through, so this time if you did a three-legged dog on the other side, you can lift those left toes high. I'm mirroring you here, and bring the left foot forward. Coming into a high lunge to prepare you for rising up into warrior one balancing, or crescent lunge. Shoulders over hips, core lift. And then open your wings, soften where you can soften. The face, the shoulders, the wrists, the elbows, and then spring off gracefully into flight, into your crane. Yeah, beautiful. Knee stays at hip height if you can, unless you need to dip your toe in the water. And anyone who needs to come against a wall and just have a fingertip against the wall, that's absolutely fine. And then play with whatever sequence you explored on the other side. Yogi's choice balance. Breathe, enjoy, explore, celebrate. When you feel complete with this exploration, shoulders come forward, take that leap of faith to gracefully land on the ball of your foot back into your balancing warrior. Palms come together and either come into prayer twist. If you need to put your knee down, you can. Or one palm down, one palm up into a twist. Long and wide, and then release. Step up, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. And everybody's favorite, coming up, the chair pose. Sit down in your chair, keep the knees bent, let your weight come a little more into the heels. Hands can be in prayer, or what I call the receiving grace pose, palms turned up, or hands to the sky. So take your expression of chair pose, 2 more deep breaths. Soft shoulders, firm core, soft around the face. And then arms reach and rise. Palms come together and return to center. Feel the prana flow, the prana buzz in you. And then I invite you to come down onto your mat into child's pose. Sometimes this has been called the warrior 4. Just letting your forehead melt down toward the mat. If it doesn't want to go all the way, you can place your palms there, or fists, or even a block. Knees can be wide, or you can rest your belly on your thighs. Let the attention ride on the breath. Just feel the echo of the whole powerful sequence that we just did, that opened and conditioned and enlivened your whole body, physical body and energy body. And then rising back up into table, we're going to take it into a few moments of pigeon on each side. So draw your right knee behind your right wrist. I'm going to mirror you. And wiggle your right foot a little closer to your left hand. Slide your left leg back. And you may want to just start with the hands under the shoulders, either on fingertips or fists, so you can get a nice, elegant back bend there. And if you notice that your right buttock is floating off of the floor, then you may want to take a blanket or cushion or anything that you've got, even a block, although I prefer something soft, underneath to fill in that space. So you can square your hips, melt the shoulders back and down, let the heart be radiantly open. And take your own exploration of pigeon, either staying right here, or coming down onto forearms, or coming into a forward fold pigeon. Some of you might want to explore a little bit more challenging variation by bending back knee and reaching one hand back to grab your foot, taking pigeon dancer, which I can demonstrate here. Or mermaid pose, drawing the heel close to the buttock, hooking hands overhead. Those are a little bit more challenging expressions of pigeon, but it's absolutely fine to do the simplest, gentlest exploration. Get a nice opening at the hip, glute stretch here, back bend. And that fold is a nice way to wind down as well. Yeah, pigeon twist. Some people like to explore twists here. We're going to go into a twist actually. I invite you to come up onto your hands And remove the cushion that you've got, whatever support you have underneath your right buttock, and bring your right buttock down to the mat. And swing your left leg around. And see if you can bring your foot all the way to the opposite side, the outside of your left foot outside right knee. Try to be centered on your sit bones, lengthen up, and wrap your right arm around your left leg for leverage. And reach first your fingertips, left fingertips forward, and then follow your gaze all the way back behind you. Bring your palm flat down to the mat behind your sacrum, buttock area. Lengthen up, and look over your left shoulder into a twist. So this time we get to explore a little deeper expression of our twist if it's available. You can even use upper arm leverage outside thigh to get a little deeper expression of your twist. Some of you who are really flexible might be able to bind, clasping fingers, reaching into the space between your thighs, between your thigh and calf. That's optional. And then unwind from your twist. Unwind that leg. Come back through table. And take your pigeon on the other side. Remember to square the hips. And your heel can be close to the opposite hip crease. Or, for a little bit juicier experience, you can draw that foot closer to the opposite upper corner of your mat. Square your shoulders, open the heart. Notice the difference. If your hands are flat, you don't get as much back bend as if you're up on fingertips or fists. Can you feel that difference? Yeah. Melt the shoulders back and down. Let the heart be radiantly open. And if you need a little support underneath your left buttock, you can put it there. And take whatever explorations you did on the other side. Pigeon Sphinx, full resting pigeon. Any twist variations. Or maybe some of you did the pigeon dancer or mermaid. All of it is optional ways to explore and celebrate your body this morning. Now, if you use a blanket underneath, you will find that you'll have a lot easier to staying balanced. Just play with that and see if that's true for you. Yeah. Okay. This is your time for your own personal inquiry. You're all experienced yogis to some degree or another. So let it be, each pose be met in the spirit of inquiry and exploration, rather than Simon says do this, Simon says do that. Listening, honoring. And then removing the cushion when you're ready and letting that left buttock come down, swing the right leg around. Be centered on your sit bones and see if you can bring your foot flat to the floor as best you can, opposite your thigh, and draw your heel as close to the opposite hip as you can. With knee pointing up, hug that thigh in toward your belly, wrap your left arm around your right bent leg. Follow your gaze around into a seated twist. Both sit bones anchored, long vertical line of energy from root to crown, and lead with the heart, exploring this twist. Softening shoulders, keeping heart open. And if you tried any other deepening leverage here with upper arm outside thigh, you can play with that. Or mind down. When you're ready to release, unwind, uncross both legs and plant the feet in front of your feet flat, toes point straight ahead. Come onto your sit bones and turn the palms up. This is what I call the pose of receiving grace that's always pouring down. Now, keeping the feet planted, slowly roll down onto your sacrum. You're going to activate your core, draw navel in. Feel the belly light up. Keep your feet down as you roll. That's the trick. Keep your feet down as you roll down one vertebra at a time. Come down onto your back and then hug your knees in, side to side. I invite you to take a moment of upside down. So you might just want to have your legs straight up in the air, perpendicular to the body so the lower extremities are higher than the heart. Or maybe take a block, placing your feet down so you can lift your hips, block flat underneath the sacrum. Or those of you who are comfortable with plow and shoulder stand can come into an expression of that. Just take a few breaths there. If you come into your shoulder stand, I like to come to plow first so I can walk my elbows toward one another. Bring hands to the low back, framing the spine, and then let the feet come up into your shoulder stand. I'm here modifying with a little bend in my hips so that my weight is not focused on the neck, but more on the shoulders and upper back. So feel free to flow between shoulder stand and plow. And when you're ready to transition from your inversion, some of you may want to come right through a bridge pose, bringing your feet down, lifting the hips, or you can roll down and then take a moment of lifting the hips. The hips higher than the heart higher than the head. Knees planted, hip width apart. And then slowly roll down, one vertebra at a time. And again, giving yourself an embrace in Apanasana, hugging the thighs in. Maybe letting your body rock side to side, a little spinal massage there. Let the arms come out to T position and let the knees float down to one side and just relax into a revolved abdomen spinal twist. Knees in line with the hips, legs in an L shape. Let the backs of both shoulders soften into the mat and turn your hand opposite your knees. Let the breath be long and slow and deep. And then bring the knees up and let them float to the other side, turning your gaze in the opposite direction, keeping the knees in that 90-degree angle, L shape. Letting both shoulders soften into the mat beneath you. If you have a lot of space in between your thighs when you come into this revolved abdomen pose, you can always Just place a blanket or block between your thighs, and that will help you be able to relax into the twist. And then bringing the knees up to center. Slide the feet away from you into Shavasana. Palms turn up, arms 45 degrees from the body. And some of you may prefer to have either a rolled up blanket or a bolster underneath your knees, because that helps take some tension out of the low back and allows the low back to flatten. Do either of you want anything under your knees? Okay. So take a moment to prepare any of the accoutrements you need. If you want a blanket over you or a bolster under you. Taking a little tuck of the shoulder blades toward one another, just so the heart stays open. Palms are open in that receptive, receiving grace pose. Toes are naturally turning out in opposite directions. Here you can release any control of the breath. And just allow the breath to find its own natural rhythm. Allowing the belly to rise and fall at its own pace, its own depth. In Shavasana, we get any striving and doing and efforting out of the way. And allow the gift of yoga to be naturally and easily received into every cell, every organ, to all of the nadis, the energy channels, into your muscles, and even into your bones. Just allow yourself to receive another traditional Sanskrit prayer. Asking that our minds and hearts may be turned toward truth, toward wisdom, to remember the quality of our true nature, our soul, as infinite, eternal, and whole. Om Asatoma Satgamya Tamasoma Jyoti Gamya Richarna Amritam Gamya Om Shanti 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 Asatoma Satgamya Tamasoma Jyoti Gamya Richarna Amritam Gamya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from the dark darkness to the light, from the fear of dying, lead me to the knowing of my immortality. Oh, asatoma satgamiyam, tamasoma jyotirgamiyam, Richarma amritam gamiyam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Begin to deepen your breath now. Begin to bring some movement into your fingers and into your toes. Any movements that bring you back into present time, into your body. And when you're ready, you can draw your legs in toward your chest and roll over onto one side. And slowly press yourself up to your yogic seat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. And we'll close our practice before our optional meditation. We'll seal our practice with the sound of Om, which is a traditional closing mantra, reminding us of that eternity of the soul and of our essential interconnectedness. So those of you who wish to can join me in sharing that sound of Om. Otherwise, just let yourself bathe in the sound. Deep breath in. Namaste. The divine in me sees and bows to the divine in me. We'll take a moment to transition for those of you who need to leave. Otherwise, anyone who wants to stay for a 10-minute seated meditation can do that. So take a moment to come into a seated posture with your hips higher than your knees. So here, I'm going to let this go so you can see me. And what I like to do is have a little support underneath one knee. You're going to head out. I sit in half lotus. It's fine to sit just in easy pose with one leg tucked, just placed behind the other lower leg. What I don't recommend is crossing your ankles campfire style, because that's going to bring your knees up. So you want to do what allows the knees to be as comfortably down toward the earth as possible. And when I come into half lotus with one foot on top of opposite thigh, this knee is kind of floating a little, so I just use a little bit of support underneath. I have one of these cushions that molds to my body, the buckwheat cushion. allows my hips to be raised and my spine to be long and lifted. So find that length in your spine so that the shoulders are stacked over your hips and the head is balanced beautifully over the shoulders. And the shoulders just gently drawn back and down, not so that you're using any effort, but just that there's an invitation for the heart to be open. And your palms can rest on your thighs. But if they're too far forward, it's going to invite the shoulders to be forward. So let the hands be either mid-thigh or toward your hip crease so that the shoulders can comfortably stay back and down. Palms can be down, palms up, or some of you who have more of a Buddhist meditation practice may want to rest one hand inside the other in dhyana mudra. So find the mudra that's comfortable for you, that supports stillness. Some styles of meditation teach to practice with eyes closed, and some with eyes downcast, with a partially open eyelids. So find what you're comfortable with, what supports you. Just don't want to be looking around and taking in a lot of stimulation. In meditation, we don't control the rhythm of the breath like we do in asana practice. Just allow awareness to rest on the rhythm of your breathing, letting the breath be the anchor for your attention. First, just take a moment to notice any sensation in the body that is alive for you. Maybe you sense the tingling and flow of prana. Maybe there's an area of the body that still feels tight. Maybe you need to make an adjustment in your posture to create the greatest experience of ease in your yogic seat. Take a moment to do a brief scan to see if there's places where you're holding where you can release just a little. Maybe around the eyes or the jaw, shoulders, belly, or buttocks. Notice the sensation of your buttocks on the cushion, or mat or chair underneath you. The air enveloping your skin. Just notice what sensations are present for you. And allow the awareness to tune into the soundscape. If there's any sounds close to you in your environment, perhaps a fan, maybe sounds further away, outside, nature sounds or human sounds. Just allow yourself to notice hearing. In meditation, we don't get drawn into thinking about the sounds or trying to figure out what they are. Just noticing hearing. Be part of that vast tapestry of sound, near and far and all around you. Notice if there's any smells. Maybe Maybe your environment smells neutral, or maybe there's something that stands out as something touching your olfactory sense. Just notice smelling without getting drawn into figuring out what it is or liking it or disliking it. Just a neutral awareness of what's present. Notice where you sense the breath moving in you, either at the nostrils, in the chest, or the belly. And let your awareness gently rest on the movement of the breath. Perhaps using the mental note, breathing in, breathing out. Simply in, out. And if the mind is pulled in the direction of thought, or noticing a sound or sensation, just note that, hearing, thinking, and gently return to the breath. Meditation is simply a practice of beginning again, and again, and again. And we take this peace into our day and offer it out in all of our words, thoughts, and actions. Namaste.